Welcome everybody to the licensing subcommittee on today, Friday 16th of February, to hear our licensing application appeal in respect of STN Smorrel Lane at 259 Smorrel Lane, Bedworth. So, the agenda, item 1, we have appointment of chair. Can I have nominations, please?
I'd like to propose Councillor Rob Tromans.
Seconder?
Yes, that's seconded by me. Thank you.
Thank you. In that case, we'll proceed with the meeting with myself as chair. Item 2 is the evacuation procedure. A fire drill is not expected today, so if the alarm sounds, it is for real. Please evacuate the building quickly and calmly. Please use the stairs rather than the lifts if possible. Once out of the building, make your way on the opposite side of the road to Lloyd's Bank, because that's the rallying point. Exit by the door which you entered the room, or the fire exits that are clearly marked with the green signs around the room. If you need any assistance in evacuating the building, please make yourself known to a member of staff and they will help you. Please also ensure before the meeting gets underway properly that you've got mobile phones switched to silent or turned off. Thank you. Item 3, I don't believe we have any apologies. All members of the subcommittee are here, so we will move on to item 4, declarations of interest. Can I ask members of the subcommittee, are there any declarations of interest not printed in the agenda? Okay, I do need to make one, as this does relate to somewhere on a highway. I am Warwickshire County Council's representative on the West Midlands Combined Authority Transport Overview and Scrutiny Committee. Moving on to the final part of the agenda, item 5, the licensing application, new premises, STN Smorrel Lane, 259 Smorrel Lane. If I can ask officers at this point, order of speeches, the applicant to outline their case. Is that going to be done by the applicant or their representative?
Yeah. He confirmed it's your agent that wants to talk on your behalf, and is that correct? He is. Yeah, he's linked with us.
Great. So we've got him available by Teams.
Yes, he should
wonderful.
be able to hear us.
Great. Do you want to just confirm that with him and he can present? Thank you.
Yeah, Naga, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Just before we move on to the speaker, our legal representative has reminded me there's a couple of items on point 2 that we need to just go through. So we've done declarations of interest, made sure the meeting's quorum, remind parties of their right to address. Do you want to point out the salient parts, Amy? Yes. Yeah.
Thank you. So, yes, I'm just reminding parties of their right to address and present evidence to the subcommittee and, if permitted, to other parties. I'm also confirming that the notices have been given to the parties and both parties, all parties concerned, and there has not been any notice of withdrawal of any representations that has been received. That's all, Chair. Thank you.
The responsible authorities.
Yes, we haven't received any representations from any responsible authorities, so they are not here present today. Thank you.
Right, in that case, we are ready to hear from the applicant's representative. Thank you.
Naga, if you just bear with me 1 second, I'm going to get you on the screen so that all parties, including the subcommittee, can see you whilst you address the committee.
Sure. Thank you.
Okay, Naga, if you want to go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. Before I start, I would like to use this opportunity to thank Mr. Castley and his team to organize this remote link for me. I have made this request at the very last moment, as I have just lost my dad a few days ago here in Sri Lanka. So thank you so much. So if I move on, I would like to give a quick background of this company, Oislands Limited. Mr. and Mrs. Balakumaran have a number of licensed premises. Almost all of them have 24 hours premises license. Both have a number of years of experience in this trade with a good track record. We have a team of staff to manage all these venues. We usually build our team for each premises by employing a local resident with good local knowledge. We also have one of our chief operating officer here. In addition to this, I'm not just dealing with this application, rather I worked with Mr. and Mrs. Balakumaran for all of their licensed venues in the past, so I have a brief knowledge of how they manage these venues. With regard to this premises, before we made the application, my client met the immediate and the local residents and spoke to them about this proposal. The local residents aware of these applications weeks before we made this in December last year. We received an overwhelming support from local residents for the following main reasons. The main things they mentioned, that area became dark after hours and they like to have a little liveliness in late hours. The local shop already there is not in a good state as they don't have any competition. And the residents would like to have a premises with 24/7 access. These are the main things they mentioned when we spoke to the local residents. Chair, this local business was fully rely on local community. There is a massive investment went into this business. The venue is under full refurbishment. The ground, the structure, electrical installation, wiring, everything it's been happening for the past few months. The people who are working on these premises, on these projects, are local residents, some of whom are our close neighbors. So we are not here to make a quick gain, and our aim is not to create a trouble or the disorder in our area. Rather, we need a safer environment for everyone. So we have a number of measures put in place to promote licensing objectives already. We have mentioned most of them in our licensing application, the premises license application. We have listed most of the steps we have taken. I just want to point out a few things just to make everybody aware of it. Under the 4 licensing objectives, we have a list of measures. If I take the prevention of crime and disorder, we have high quality CCTV system with all capabilities, with reasonable lighting systems in and around the premises. The recording will be kept for a minimum of 30 days and it can be accessed by any authorities if needed. Alcohol will not be served with any plastic containers like a paper cup or plastic cups. We never do that in any of our sites. The beer or cider will not be served as a single cans because we know this is one of the things attract wrong people, so we don't sell them. We will not serve super strength beers or ciders which above 6.5 ABV. Again, these are our regular practice in all the premises. All the incidents will be recorded and reported to police. We will actively engage in any saferhood forums like Pub Watch or Shop Watch, which we have involved in most of our other sites. Under public safety, we have high standard, latest fire safety equipment installed in the premises. Our customers are fully informed about all safety procedures by clear and prominent signs. For the prevention of public nuisance, we will place bins for public use in our forecourt. There will be no deliveries between 11 p.m. till 5 a.m. We always have clear signage to advise customers to leave the venue quietly. Chair, protecting children from harm is one of our main priority. We have strictly followed Challenge 25 policy with all the signages, and we only recognize IDs for verification. And the staff training, we have initial training, refreshers, everything followed up regularly, documented, can be inspected. We also have the latest EPOS terminals installed in all our till with automated till prompt. I just want to briefly explain what is that. When someone trying to purchase an alcohol or tobacco product, the till, even though we provide training to all our staff, the till will prompt a sign, ask them to check the IDs. So this is a second safety measure. So they have to go through these steps before they serve the alcohol or tobacco product to a person. So this is something installed in all our tills. So just to prevent any sales which shouldn't happen. Refusals will be recorded and can be inspected. So these are the measures we have put in place on our application to promote the licensing objectives, and we are happy to take all of this as our license conditions. And if you take this as a license condition, we have to follow it. If not, it's a breach. If I go to the representations, Chair, we have representation from other parties. We are not undermining any of their concerns, and we have considered every single one of them very, very carefully. If I go through one by one, firstly, the Appendix C, the objection from 12 Summercourt Road, sorry if I'm not pronouncing the road name correctly, the concerns are noise and ASP in late hours. So that was the main concern by this representation. Chair, we would like to say that please do not treat us like a pub or nightclub where patrons comes out late hours, drunk and disorderly manner. This is a petrol station with a small scale convenience store. Within it, our alcohol lines are very limited, and we only have a handful of expensive product lines. Also, we are not going to sell single cans and strong beers in addition to other conditions to promote the licensing objectives. So all the safety measures are here, and we are not going to operate like a nightclub or pub. Most importantly, our premises will be open 24 hours, observing the junction. This is not a convertible environment for the usual troublemakers, which Mrs. Stringer is worrying about. So this isn't exactly what our neighbors asked when we had the conversation before we lodged the application. They need to have the area a little bit more lively, so people cannot do anything under the cover of dark. With regards to the noise concern, we have considered this before we make the application as well. If you look at the location of this premises, it's in a roundabout. The frontier of the premises is facing the roundabout, and we have premises and back and both sides. The residence is behind our stores and on our sides as well. In addition to that, we have other measures put in place. It's not just the facing towards the roundabouts. We have the tannoy systems. Instead of having a loudspeakers in a forecourt area like most of other petrol stations have, if there's any need to communicate with the customer, usually the forecourts uses a small speaker on the top of a forecourt. It can cause some noise nuisance. We avoid completely. What we have is the latest tannoy system installed in each and every pumps. If there's a need to speak to someone, which very rarely happen, if there is a need, we can use that to communicate with them. The sound level can be adjusted. It's usually audible about a meter or two, so it doesn't go beyond that. And it's in front of a busy roundabout. So the noise, it's not going to emanate from these premises apart from what already there. In addition to this, we are not going to take any deliveries late hours. We already put this as a condition, 11 to 5, there will be no deliveries. We will also place a bin in our forecourt. This is just for the waste, not just for the waste from our store or the customers from our store, the public can also use it. We have always done this in all our company sites to promote the licensing objective together as a community. So if I go to the Appendix D, this is a supporting statement from one of our immediate residents. We are very grateful for this. So people don't usually write if they are happy with things. We truly appreciate the effort from these residents. So thank you for that. The Appendix E, this is from our competitor. The main concern raised are the competition and the profit being affected. This is not a ground to make an objection under the Licensing Act. So we need a healthy competition in this area. This is what our residents want. So I don't think this is a valid ground to make an objection. Secondly, the objector was talking about increased ASP, the possible increase of ASP if this license is granted, which I have addressed already. However, I would like to add one more thing. Having an extra licensed venue in an area, it's not going to increase the alcohol consumption. It's all about how we promote the licensing objective. We would like to say that we have a number of conditions and measures in place to promote the licensing objectives. Our product lines are different from normal, ordinary convenience stores. We do not sell strong beer or cider, and we don't sell single cans. We only sell few varieties of small quantities, which are in high end in price scale. So we're not going to attract the troublemakers. So this objection is purely based on competition, and therefore it shouldn't be considered from our point of view. If I go to the Appendix F, the concerns again raised about ASP. There was a shooting and a car theft in an area. With regards to this ASP concern, I have already addressed it in relation to shooting and incident of the burglary. There are multiple factors for these type of incidents. It could be a drug related, it could be mental health related. We can't link everything to the local business without any strong evidence. In addition to this, presence of a 24 hours premises with good lighting and good CCTV and extra pairs of eyes for 24/7, it's going to avoid most of the problems. And if anything happens, we can be helpful for the police. And police haven't raised any concerns about this application anyway. So the concerns raised by the other party in Appendix F, I think we already addressed most of it. We can understand their concerns, but this is what we are saying, that this is not going to cause any issues. The next one is the petition. I can see there are almost 300 names on these petitions here. We do respect them. However, we have a number of strong concerns with this petition. The first one, the petition was organized by our competitor, the coast cutter, close to our premises. In the covering letter, he raised concerns about the application encouraging young children to smoke and drink in early age, and there's a primary school in the close proximity. But this primary school is in front of his premises, and he is already selling alcohol and tobacco products during the school hours. So I don't understand the argument there. The people must pass his premises to come to our shop. So, and as I have previously mentioned, that our product lines are going to be different, and we have a number of other measures to promote the licensing objectives anyway. So I don't think this issue, this concern was valid. So that's our first concern about this petition. The second one, we have a number of signatures and a separate covering letter. This is one of the serious things we need to focus on. But how can we link these signatures to this covering letter? People might have signed it for something else. These might be the list of signature for some other matter. We don't know that. For me to believe that these people have signed this for this purpose, I must see the concerns written on top of each page, and the signatures should be underneath that. It's all are separated sheets and separated formats. That's our second concern. The third one, there are no dates on any pages. I understand the licensing authority received this document during the consultation period, but the actual signatures might have signed, I don't know when, 2 years, 3 years ago. We don't know that. And the numbers on the pages are crossed out, almost all the pages. So it makes it more questionable. Our fourth concern here, some of these addresses far from our premises. For example, on the first page, there's a 30 Delamere Road. It's about 1.5 miles from our premises. It's on the other side of the A44. The fifth one, some of them don't have signatures, just the name and address. I think 1 or 2 pages in the bundle. There's no signatures on it. It's just a list of name and addresses. It doesn't match with all the pages. Some of them are not readable and it's not clear. The seventh concern, in addition to all of these, I would like to imagine this scenario. If I'm living in a local area where I only have a local shop I usually go to, if the shopkeeper asks me to support a petition, I will sign it to avoid upset the person. Because I want to keep him happy. This is the only local shop I have. So I might sign it, even though wholeheartedly I'm not supporting it. Just to keep him happy, I will sign it. So I can't see this can be the valid objection. Therefore, for all the reasons above, all the 7 or 6 reasons I mentioned above, this petition comes under the category of the frivolous representation according to the Section 18 of Licensing Act 2003. Also, Chair, I would like to point out the following. We haven't received any objection from any of the responsible authorities. Police have the right expertise and the evidence to assess the crime and disorder in any area. Same goes to environmental health, noise pollution, child protection, etc., etc. None of the RAs made any concerns about these applications. They are happy with the proposal. They are happy with the measures we have taken to promote the licensing objectives. Also, there are no evidence provided by, no direct evidence provided by any of the other parties to support their representation. There's no evidence in front of you today. Also, this is not a special policy area. We are not setting a precedent here, Chair. There are some other 24 hours venues nearby, not far from us. The first one was the Bedworth service station, 206 Heath Road, which is less than half a mile from our venue. Between these two venues, the coast at almost at the middle. And there's a Shell. It's 1 miles away from that, from our premises. It's Nuneaton Road, 24 hours. The Tesco Extra, Leicester Street, that's also about 1.5 miles from our store. So we are not setting a precedence here. And there are no evidence that any of these premises are undermining the licensing objectives. If there are any issues, we should have received objection from the police under the crime and disorder objective. We haven't. Finally, Chair, I just want to say this. My client is not just taking over this business and trying to start running the business from the day one. We are not doing that. Rather, he took over the business months ago, and there's the structural works are still going on. It's a massive investment, and it's not only going to give a good look in the neighborhood, but also provide some employment to local people. If it's a 24-hour shop, we need more people to work there. Also, we don't have any passing customers. That's one of the main point here. We don't rely on any passing customers. We just rely on our local residents, and we already put massive investment. We still haven't finished all the works yet to this property. So in this situation, no one will jeopardize their investment and their massive effort by undermining licensing objectives. We need to run a very good business, and we need to have a decent customers in this environment. Chair, the Licensing Act 2003 is a very, very powerful tool. If there are any issues with any licensed premises, anyone can call a review with a very short notice. Unlike our competitor in this area, we have a number of conditions going to be in our license if it's granted today. It will make a lot easier to take action by RAs or other person. For when we have all these safety measures in place, it's not fair to refuse this application without any evidence, but just with a speculation. Therefore, Chair, this application should be granted. Thank you.
Thank you for that, and thank you for making the meeting so that we were able to continue. I am sorry to hear, I think the committee is, Mr. Rajesh, of your bereavement, and obviously have our condolences. I now ask the other members of the subcommittee if they have any points of clarification that they'd like to seek from the agent.
Hello, sir. Could I just ask you one question? Will the main doors be closed at a certain time in the evening, or will it be open throughout the night? Because a lot of service areas actually close and serve through a hatch. Is that what you intend to do?
Thank you for the question, Councillor. Our usual practice in other sites, because we are open to any of these suggestions, so please let me tell you what we do in other sites. One of the things my client usually do, rather than, he sometimes thinks having a window and closing the front door, it's like you just kicking the problem outside. So he wants to keep the doors open if possible, so they can have a face-to-face conversation, take the customers in and serve them, and we can judge the people much more easily, and we get a good picture before we serve them. So that is what he usually do. He employs additional staff if needed. But in some cases, based on daily risk assessment, I think that's one of the sites in Birmingham, we use a night hatch. So we are open to this. We normally study the area. One of the strong points for us is we always employ local residents, so they have the local knowledge of the individuals and the area. So we like to welcome people in so we can have a face-to-face conversation, judge the person and serve the products. Most of our customers almost all of our customers are going to be local residents. So we don't have any passing crowd, but we are open to any suggestion. We are not asking anything particularly.
Thank you, Councillor Morton, and thank you for the responses. Councillor Mandy Tromans.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you very much for the details that you've provided to us. Earlier on, you mentioned about training and established training for your staff who are serving in the premises. In order to meet your licensing objectives, what sort of training is established for assisting members of the staff in signposting individuals or dealing with problems that might be caused by individuals arriving at the premises who may be intoxicated and you may not wish to serve them alcohol? How would you expect your staff to deal with that?
Thank you, Councillor. This is something I'm not fully involved, but I have some knowledge of how my client do that in other venues. We have a standard training procedure, a company standard training procedure. On top of that, we have an additional tailor-made one for the local area. We have one problematic site that's not in this area at all, so we have to put some extra measures just to cover the specific need for the area. So in terms of judging and refusing alcohol, one of the common practice we normally say if we have to serve it, we are sorry, we have a CCTV directly linked to the police and they are watching us. If I do serve the alcohol, we will be in trouble. Most of the time, that works. The measures we already put on site, it's already filtered people coming to our store. That's the conditions we have. So we rarely get any troublemakers. But in terms of training, we have a set of training, which is a basic one. For the individual sites, we add some extra training based on the area's need.
Thank you, Councillor Tromans, and thank you for that response. I do have a few things I'd just like to clarify with you, things that you touched on. You talked about the Chief Operating Officer?
Yes.
Here? Ah, you're the Chief Operating Officer, sir. So you're in a position to confirm what's been said by the agent? You're in a position to confirm what's been said by the agent? Oh, yeah. Yeah. And in respect to the training as well? Oh, yeah. Yeah, because obviously Licensing Act is very clear and there are powers. We cannot be serving people who are intoxicated. And yeah, there is an obligation on you. We would expect to train your staff to recognise vulnerable individuals and signpost them too. Is that something that the agent and you as the Chief Operating Officer can confirm, that they would have that kind of training and awareness?
Yeah. This is our...
Yeah. Okay. You talked about the range of products that were higher end and quite limited. No super strength alcohols, nothing above 6.5% ABV, so that's whether that's beer or cider. What about miniatures of spirits? Is that something that you sell or plan to?
I believe that we have that in some stores. I don't think in all other stores, but I think it's, I can ask the operation manager, Mr. Balagumaran. I think he's probably the right person, whether he's going to serve that miniature. Top of my head, I don't think he planned to do that, but I can confirm with him.
We'll just check with the Chief Operating Officer now, sorry.
Right. The higher amount which will attract more profit. We don't want to sell like £1 and make like a 10 pence worth of profit. It doesn't warrant us, and we don't want to see a lot of people having a mini small bottles and maintaining it and all that. We are not interested in doing that particularly. It doesn't, when you have £10 and 10% of £10 is £1, when you take £1, it's only 10 pence. I always tell all my staff, look, by you selling alcohol to a child, you probably make 50 pence, or selling a cigarette to a child, you might make a 50 pence. And a lot of police officers appreciate my opinion on that one. I don't really want to attract, once you let people and serving people with alcohol, who is not capable to purchase it, like a drunken and disorder, they'll flood at the place and cause more trouble. If I reject them in the first place, they go elsewhere and get it. So I always firm on that one, not to serve those people who are already drunken and disorderly. I work very well with the police officers, and thank God numerous times the officers who visit the premises, and we pass they do a test. Are we selling alcohol to children? We always pass that test from Stoke-on-Trent Council, Gloucestershire Council, Redbridge Council. We always pass that test, and we don't need to rely on making 10 pence or pulling children into the store or drunk and disorderly, serving them. It's only attract more profit, really. That would be my answer to that one. There are, in terms of we are very concerned about protecting the staff. Even though the door is open, behind there, the staffs are very important to us, really. We treat them like our family, and they are well protected. There would be another screen, like a post office. If you see the post office setup, all of our premises, we put them on. Because I don't want to expose my staff to fight with the drunk and disorder. Then I don't want to see any drama in the forecourt. So they can, if worst scenario, if they take a couple of bottles of beer and run away, we can live with it. It's not something really I ask the staff to go and confront them and deal with them. and there's a door there, a door with the lock facilities. If he comes to know that person is not very suitable person to get inside that, we'll keep them and tell them, call them to the night serve position and tell them, look, we can't serve you. And if they refuse, then we get the police officers, we phone the police officers, and often the police officers are very helpful and understand our problem and ask them to leave. So often, soon after we call the police officer, they leave, fled the scene really. In terms of, I would like to add another point. There's a gentleman sitting next, it's a lovely couple, it's next door, right next door. It's a semi-detached property. And this morning I was a bit heartbroken. From a comment from him that the signature was shoveled into his face. That's the word the gentleman used. He's sitting in the gallery. And he said he can't go to that store anymore. That's really, I feel I should open the store soon as possible to serve this gentleman. Right. The other thing, we are very conscious about the neighbors. All these years, several years, my neighbors are inhaled with the vapor from the petrol pumps and the petrol tanks. And I'm really concerned. The first thing I walked in, even before I make an offer, I decided to put the petrol recovery system, which is £100,000 worth of investment. We done it, and there won't be any escape of probably the lady next door. She's very concerned. I didn't want to talk to her until this time because it might be a conflict of interest. I don't want to provoke her, and this is what we done it. I sent somebody else who lived in the premises above and explained that, but I don't know whether she accept our point of view. There won't be any vapor escaping when the delivery comes in. When the tanks are filled up with petrol, whatever inside the tank, the fumes will come out from the vapor. That's not going to happen anymore because it's been the tanker will put the petrol in and take the vapor with him. So there won't be any. We done that. It's cost us £100,000. So that we are that conscious. Nobody asked. Council supposed to be asking that. Council never asked it. The petroleum officer never. We called the petroleum officer and speak to her, Louise, her name, from Warwickshire. She said, you got the correct attitude. That's a comment she made. And by us, it would be very difficult for us to put probably 5% of the sales in the night time would be alcohol. We are open anyway, 24. The 5% of the sales during the night time is not going to affect anybody. No children going to come along, and because one of the gentlemen say, oh, we ran out of nappies for the child. We got nowhere to go. I went all the way to Bedworth to get nappy for my daughter. So that we would be having 24 hours is definitely brighten up the place and definitely protect the neighbors. There won't be any crime. We work very closely. Often we are the tools for the police officers. In the event of any crime in the neighborhood area, they'll come in. We just make sure the whole area is covered. And also, my next door neighbor, he asked me, only thing I'm asking you, can you please cover his parking area so nobody will break into his caravan and steal his expensive caravan? I said, yes, it's already covered. And there's a pair of, I mean, why I find it difficult why people hate or don't want us selling alcohol in the night time. If you can imagine, it would be very difficult to monitor it, like putting a shutter for the alcohol between any time. That's the reason, really. And it's not going to affect anybody, really. But the neighbor have a dispute with the previous people. That's not me. You have a...
The neighbours' disputes between themselves, yeah, please.
Okay, thank you. Anything else to say?
Again, I think we should thank the applicant for making a few things clear there. You said the council didn't ask about the vapours or the rest of it. Section C, when you're describing how you're going to promote all 4 licensing objectives, that's your opportunity there under public safety to say, and in terms of pollution and all the rest of it, we are fitting vapour control measures at apparently some considerable cost. So that ideally should have gone there, and then the council would know, but thank you for on the record making that clear. I hear what you say about the engagement with the police, and I think that's very reassuring for the community to hear, and how active you are in that regard. I'm not sure quite about the way you expressed yourself at the start in respect of sales of alcohol to underage and cigarettes to children and whatever. You know, I hope you meant to say that, you know, well, I can't, you know, I'm taking it, and please correct me, but the reason that can't happen is because it would contravene the law. We can't sell. It's, you know, it might not be profitable and it might not be desirable to serve drunks and children, but that's by the by. The fact is, the licensing laws are very clear, and I, as chair of licensing, need to remind you of that. And I'm by your reaction, I think you're making it clear that that was what you meant to say, albeit I think it didn't come across quite as clearly as perhaps we might all have hoped. Okay, so we talked about signage as well from your agent. That's great, and the bins and all the rest of it, good to hear. That also helps meet the objectives in terms of avoiding the public nuisance. But the signs weren't specific. Are we talking about large signs that say, please, you know, remember you're in a residential neighbourhood, keep the sound down? Is that something that you will definitely put in, those signs? Yeah, is that the agent? That
Yes,
was your
we
understanding too?
We will
Okay.
definitely put them at least
And
A3
because
size.
if I
sign.
add one quick point there about the signage, Chair, because the premises is going to be fully refurbished. So wherever possible, where it's prominent, we will place a clear and bright signage without obstructing any other things we shouldn't be. So wherever possible, because it's a complete refurbishment from floor to ceiling, everything is going to be new and the latest signs. Yeah.
Thank you for that clarification. Okay, so I don't have any more points or other members of the committee of clarification. At this point, we would normally say if there was a responsible authority present, like the police or whatever, that they would have an opportunity to cross-examine the applicant or the applicant's agent. There isn't. So we are looking now at any interested party in proceedings can cross-examine or ask reasonable and related questions of the applicant stroke their agent. Does anybody wish to do that?
I noticed.
If you're going to speak, just press the big button on there and the red light will come on.
You're right.
Yeah. Okay. Before you start, you just need to explain who you are and in what capacity you are an interested party.
My name's Judy. The jetty that is not probably 20 to 25 yards away from the garage in Dark Lane. It connects Dark Lane with Smircock Close. It's only probably 40 yards along the jetty, but I live up that jetty. And yes.
Yeah, great. Thank you.
The fact that there was a shooting very near the garage in that jetty way last year. There were men with machetes.
If I can just pause you there and just ask the officer, this, my understanding, is an opportunity to ask questions and seek clarification and cross-examine the applicant and their agent. Will the objectors have an opportunity to speak separately after? Yes, okay. In that case, is there anything that you want to specifically seek clarification on or question the applicant or the agent about now? If you've got some other comments to make about issues in the area, you'll have an opportunity to speak on that separately.
No, that was just the reason I wanted to know. I will speak later if I can, but
yes.
I just wanted to know why, brought up in their, what they were saying. They were saying, about there's not that much, trouble, but there is trouble. Last year there was a lot of trouble, and we just do not need any more youths or adults for that matter coming in the night.
Fit questions for the applicant or the agent? Or...
No.
No? Okay.
I mean, other than that, that's what I wanted to protest about, is the fact that it's the bringing of the community in the night to that particular area that is the concern.
Thank you. You made that point. Appreciate that.
Interruption. Sorry for the interruption.
Sorry, Chair. There are the individuals to my right-hand side. There are 3 that have made objections and 1 representative for that that individual who's made an objection. So unless there's no further questions for the applicant. Okay.
Great. In that case, if you'd just like to press the large red button, explain who you are and in what capacity you're an interested.
Excuse me, sir, but my name's Mrs. Sandra String and I live right next door to the garage. There's only a 3-foot wall separating me and the garage. And even at night, even late, early hours, whatever, I can hear a car door bang. I can even hear a car running because my living room is right there and my bedroom's just there. And I have heard people come up from the club shouting and God knows what. And I've even seen young lads get out taxis early in the morning. Now, if that shop opens 24 hours, they're going to go in there and they're going to sit on that wall, shout, abuse, whatever. Because they do, and I'm not just making up, but they do. And you know, I don't know how to turn it off.
Don't worry. Technology gets all of us. What this is an opportunity at this particular juncture is for you to ask a question of the applicant or their agent.
Yeah.
So are you asking them, you know, what measures they'll take to stop people loitering on that wall?
Well, exactly.
And then,
Thank you for,
are you going to cover that, sir, as
Yes,
the
I will.
applicant or as the agent?
I'll
I
cover
will.
that.
Okay, we'll hear from the applicant then.
Can I?
So all these incidents took place because the service station closed at 7 o'clock and it's all pitch dark. Attract all criminals, all drug dealing in the forecourt. That's definitely not going to happen, I can assure you that. And we will be protecting our neighbors. It's not just our staff not going to call the police because our premises under violent or crime. If something happened to our neighbors, the cashier is not going to sit down and watch because it's our neighbors. There won't be any, I can't see somebody shooting anybody under the pitch dark area. So we wanted to open 24 hours because we don't want any break-in in the night time. It will really work in favor of my neighbors rather than work against the neighbors. We are not going to let anybody else to hang around and abuse the neighbors. The cashier, and we'll get the police instantly, and the police will respond to it. That's my answer to...
Excuse me, sir. Okay, you're going to be living there to take the abuse and all the noise that's going to come and stuff like that. You're not going to live there. It's me. All I want to do is a quiet life. I don't want to keep going out to people and say, can you keep the noise down? Because you don't know what you're going to get. You don't know if
Absolutely.
they
I
do.
think these are fair points, but
I'm not being
at this
rude.
point, this is just about, and you'll have a chance to speak later,
Yeah.
are there any further specific questions for the applicant or their
So-
agent?
Look, sir, I don't want to take your life 4 hour off licence for the noise and the people coming up from the club and stuff like that. I don't want to take your livelihood away. All I want to do is live a quiet life. That's all I want to do.
Okay, I think you've made a good point, but this is just, at this stage, we're just asking questions. Does anyone else have a question? Please, sir, if you can again identify yourself and in what capacity you're an interested.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sandara, who has a coast cutter. And also, I've been living in the area for 17 years because I got a shop just behind the garage. So I don't know if you know the area. It's called the Jock Estate. So I've been in the Jock for the last 17 years, okay? And because I run my own shop, like it's an off license, so 17 years, I open the shop, I serve my customers, I know what time these customers comes. If John has a few beers to drink, I say that's enough for the day, go home, go to sleep, yeah? Can this gentleman, can he operate his business by himself? Then again, then he will know that.
This isn't an opportunity to make a statement.
Yeah.
Do you have a question that
And
you want to
also
object?
one question. So you know the roundabout is in the roundabout. I don't think he knows the area. He's referring to somewhere else because he doesn't know that it's not on the roundabout. There's no roundabout nearby, and he's saying it's
no bypass is going to go by. But that's the main road to go to Cawley and go to M4.
So I appreciate your passion, but you need to ask a question. What is the question you're raising? You've made a statement about your objection.
Yeah, my question is, does the agent knows the area well for him to put a planning application and representing someone without actually knowing the actual premises by himself?
That was addressed to the agent, so I don't know if we've still got the agent on.
Can you hear me, Chair? Can you hear me, Chair?
Yeah, we can hear you, thank you.
Thank you for the chance. Yes, I have a few answers for a few other questions. If I answer the last gentleman about the area, yes, I don't know the area fully. I can tell you that. But what I know, I met the applicant and some of the residents at the premises and observed the surroundings. I don't live there, and I'm not familiar with the total area. So there is like a mini roundabout junction. Four-way is where the premises facing towards to. So that's the area the premises facing towards, and the properties are on the side, both sides, and the back of the premises. We also have properties opposite, which is on the other side of the junction. So what we are saying is, in terms of there are lots of questions about noise. In terms of noise, Chair, we have taken measures. We have taken measures to avoid the regular noise from a standard petrol station. We have taken extra measures to do that. The lady spoke earlier on. She was asking about the shooting was mentioned. Sorry if I don't make that clearly. Yes, I did mention about the shooting and the burglary, which was mentioned in her representation. I did mention that. We aware of that, but the answer for that, we can't link all the shootings and everything happened to a local business without an evidence. There are so many factors might influence that. It could be a drug-related matters or gang-related matters. That's not because there is an off-license nearby. All I can tell you, this is the feedback we got from the residents when we met them before we launched the application. You can see that from my client's response. So for just one small issue, the capturing the fumes, he spent £100,000 to install that, which he doesn't have to do it, but he did it because he was asked by the residents. The one other thing they have asked, there are a few minor issues happening in this area, is because the corner and the alleyway is dark and it's like a dead zone after certain hours. So they want to have a decent premises in the corner to have some visibility and someone observing the area. So that is the backing we made the application. And you can see from the response, the representation was exaggerated by, I hate to use that word, I'm really sorry, Chair, exaggerated by a competition. This is I'm not writing off what the lady was speaking. I know she is very concerned. I can see from her voice, we respect that. These sort of people, the local business need to protect. My client fully understand that, we respect that. But the answer to the noise-related issues, we have measures put in place.
Okay.
Okay, at night time, your staff is going to be watching the neighborhood. So do you really think that your staff is going to come out at 3 o'clock in the morning when about 10 or 15 kids out there? Because it's going to be open 24 hours, that's going to be a spot for them to deal. Okay, I've been in the area for 17 years. I know the kids, I know the parents, I know the granddads. I know how these things work. The question is how you inside the petrol station to come out and stop 10 people making a noise or anything. You're just going to cause more problems to the...
So you've asked the question, and do you as the agent want to respond to that, or the
one
applicant?
person?
Or?
Respond to that. Yes, thank you, Chair. I would like to respond to that. The response is, if we have to speculate, we can speculate lots of different worst case scenario. We didn't have any objections from the police, who are the expertise under the Licensing Act 2003, who has the evidence, who have the experience in the area, who can make impartial comments about an application. They haven't made any objection. They were happy with the proposals. So what we are talking about here is a speculation. That's all. That's all we are doing here. So I don't think it's fair to ask questions based on just the speculation without any evidence.
Yeah, people are entitled at these proceedings to ask questions, and that's been done, and I think you've answered that. As we've reached the end of section D, it sounds like because you've asked questions here at this point, we are now going to move on.
The gentleman running the nearby premises 3 times approached me. The last was last Friday morning, 7:30, and he would like to run my place. And the neighbors said, please don't let him run the place. I have no intention whatsoever to break up the competition. And how he would have dealt with is sitting and objecting it. How this gentleman would have dealt with if you...
Actually, there is an opportunity at this stage for you to ask questions back, so I don't want to get into an argument here. What we're going to do is, we're going to move on to the point to subsection E, where the applicant or their agent can call evidence in support of their application. Is there any, or have you already covered all of that?
So you go ahead. You go ahead.
If there's a possibility, we have one of our residents. I think, as my client already mentioned, he's sitting in the gallery. If there's a possibility, he can speak freely if we allow him to do so.
I would let him speak. I would say he's evidence of what they're trying to support in the application in regard to demonstrating the support of the 4 licensing objectives. I think we should let him speak.
Who is it that you want to give evidence? The lady up there? Yeah, if you would like to come down, please, madam. The officer will direct you to a microphone. So again, when you start, if you can just explain who you are, and you are here for the purpose, you've been called by the applicant to give evidence in support of their application, and I need you to confine yourself to just that.
Yeah.
Please, that'd be great. Thank you very much.
I live next door to the shop. So on behalf of Bella, I'd like to have my say, please. At the beginning, when he come with the shop to the men that were building and doing work, he confronted us every time, asked if there was any problems, everything okay. So he's been very, very honest right from the start. Any problems? No. He explained that there's work going to be going on, so it could be noisy. I said, well, that's okay, fine. Just do what you've got to do. Don't worry about us. So he's done the work, he's doing the work, and it's been fine, it's been great. Any problems? No. All the work people have been lovely, not a problem. Not a problem. And the man is a really, really nice man. If I want to say something, I say it to him and he listens. He really listens, and he's a very, very nice man. That's how I see him. And I don't know him that well, but that's how I see him.
Button. Great. At this point, any responsible authority, if they were present, would be able to ask you questions, cross-examine you, whatever. As we don't have any representation from the responsible authorities, interested parties in the proceedings can cross-examine. Obviously, your statement was pretty brief. I would say if anybody wants to ask the lady questions, please, we need to do this very respectfully. Does anybody have a question that they want to raise about what was said? Yep.
Is next door to the garage, but the garage entrance, the forecourt, etc., is on a different side, so you get no reaction from anything that comes to that forecourt. Am I right? Like I no. I have the noise coming from over the fence. Yeah. No, but I'm not talking of this time. I'm talking in future. You won't hear a thing because the petrol station is round the corner from you. You'll have no issue with traffic, youth.
Your question was, how much will the noise impact on her after the works are all completed? That was your question? Yeah. Okay.
If there's any noise at all, any problem at all, I have spoke to Bella, any problem at all, and I will come to you. And he said, you come to me, if I can put it right, I will put it right. And you can't be no fairer than that. Any problems whatsoever, just let me know. Just talk to me.
Thank you.
Okay.
If you can just press the button again, thank you. I'd now ask if any members of the committee wish to...
Live 4 yards away from me, but whoever complaining about the noise, they live 40 yards away from me. That's explain everything. I'm sorry, I just want to mention that.
So, I'm asking members of the subcommittee if they've got any questions for the witness. No, we don't. The applicant to be permitted to re-examine any of the witnesses? Nope.
Excuse me, I'm sorry, I'll...
As I said, you will get a chance to have a say
sorry,
later.
no, sorry.
We need to follow the process. Otherwise, it won't be in order. Thank you. Okay, in that case, I would like to now move to ask objectors for their evidence, their statements. Obviously not the stuff that's already been said, but is there anything any of you want to add?
So what's important at this point is that each individual that's made an objection to the application, you're given an opportunity to discuss why you've made that the representation. Okay, you're allowed to have someone talk on your behalf, which I understood was what your role was, and any supporting evidence that you may wish to bring, which may be somebody else's view on what evidence you've already suggested in your objection.
So, does anyone want to add to their objections? You can make a comment, you can make an observation. We've kind of, I did go through and ask you all if you had questions, and we've done the cross-examination bit. So, do you have anything you wish to add to your objections now? Any evidence you want to present? No, we've done the questions. So again, we're here to hear. We've heard the applicant's evidence. They've even called a witness as well. You've had opportunities to examine, to ask questions there, and now it's your opportunity to add to your objections. Any evidence you want to present at this stage? Yeah?
I would, please.
Yeah, please.
A shooting and the 3 machetes in the Jitty where I live, and I've already said that it connects Dark Lane with Smercock Close, and the garage, well, that was the garage then, 259 Smorrel Lane, is actually on the corner. And up the Jitty, which is only probably 30, 40 yards long, is Smercock Close. Known druggists, police known druggists there. In fact, they're in jail at the minute, one of them is, but that's not their business. But I've had my car window broken in the early hours of the morning. There's been a caravan set fire deliberately in the early hours of the morning in Smercock Close. There's been 2 stolen cars dumped there in the past. This is all in the past year, with the shooting and the machetes. And my argument is, we do not need or want to bring any more youths into this area in the night. I mean, daytime, fine. But we do not need it in the night. I mean, there is an old folks, me included, old people, sorry, Sandra, complex, well, 6 bungalows right at the side. It's a funny situation because Dark Lane is here, Smorrel Lane's there, the garage is on the corner. About 20 yards along is the Jitty. Now, at the side of the garage, their big 10-foot fence, or ours, I don't know whether it's Hanover's or theirs, is between our gardens, a communal garden, and the garage, where they're building and putting 3 and 4 foot high up the fence, the rubble and the dirt and mud. They've already had tools stolen from that site. So, as we've been told, haven't we, in the night, the actual Smorrel Lane site. It just needs the use to be in there. They can soon be over the fence now, they're piling it up with rubbish, into my bedroom, which is, 10 yards from the fence? And we just do not want any more youths to come to our area. We have enough trouble as it is. And I'm sorry, that's all I've got to say.
Press the button, thank you. Any other evidence that you want to add to your objections?
Can I speak to the gentleman?
No, as I say, we've been through the questions. We did ask you several times, guys. If
I live in an old people's complex, same as Julie.
so, any more evidence in support of your objections? Any of you?
Yeah, Representative wants to find out. So, to the same person, like the planner or the agency, he doesn't even know the area. He said the petrol station is sitting on the roundabout. There's no roundabout nearby or anything like that. So they don't know the area to start with. So they're trying to put a planning, okay, these companies work, so you pay a certain amount of money, we'll get you the thing. They don't know the real stuff, what's happening in the area, because they're not living there. As that gentleman who's going to be running the business, he lives in Ilford or somewhere around in London. So they don't know the actual problem itself. The problem is going to be caused, and us, the people who actually lives there, is going to go through the problem. We're saying you could sell alcohol, but just not 24 hours. We don't want that open 24 hours. When you open that 24 hours for the dealers, that will be the area or spot. 3 o'clock, meet me at the garage. Because it's open, police are not going to say anything or stop them because they're going to say, oh, we're putting petrol. So it's more obvious for dealers to come there and do their dealing. That's all I'm saying. I haven't got nothing against him opening up a business and getting along with it. It's just not 24 hours. Thank you.
No, I think that's, we're done. Okay.
One of the objectors has indicated there is a member of the public who... Okay, thank you. What's important is that to understand that what you're here for is to provide evidence to support an objection that's already been made, and you're doing it on his behalf. Is that what you're here to do? Okay. 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 If you're happy, then, Chair, to hear him speak.
Yeah. Police, can you come forward, and the officer will direct you to a microphone so that it can be on the record. Thank you.
My experience has been living there 20 years. I've got 2 young disabled children. I'm a foster carer, and also I'm worried about the antisocial behaviour that's going to be attracted to that area, that petrol station. The 20 years I've lived there, it's been closing about 7:30 in the evening. I go to work at night, and then my wife's left on her own with the children. So I'm worried about, obviously, people coming up to buy alcohol from sort of 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night when the other shop closes, right through till 3, 4 in the morning. And it's mainly at weekends, like Friday, Saturday, Sunday. People coming home from nightclubs in taxis, Ubers, and they get dropped off there and they go into and just congregate in that corner. And it causes a lot of trouble. People leaving bottles, cans, glass, and everything gets broken, and then cars getting damaged. So that's my main concern about the 24-hour alcohol licence. I've got no objection to him selling alcohol, but at 24 hours is not what we want in that area. I don't think the local residents need it. If people want to go and buy alcohol, they can go to a Tesco or Asda or somewhere like that and buy it before 11 o'clock. That's all I've got to say, really.
Right, thank you. So I don't know if the agent wants to ask any questions of that witness or the applicant. No?
Yes, please.
Oh,
Chair.
yeah, the
Yes,
agent does.
please.
Okay.
I have 3 quick questions to the gentleman from the Coast Cutter, if that's possible, please. It's about their representation.
Sorry, could you repeat that? We couldn't hear you. You need to speak up a little bit.
Quick questions for the gentleman from the Coast Cutter, if that's possible, please.
Yeah.
I think there is another microphone is on, that's why.
You can do that, but please, again, whenever we're asking questions, cross-examining members of the public, which is the ordinary objectors, if we can make sure that they're succinct and respectful. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Chair. Oh, definitely. I just want to ask the gentleman from the Coast Cutter, in the past 12 months, have you had any incidents in your shop in relation to alcohol or tobacco sale? If yes, could you able to tell me the nature of this? That's my first question.
Or his wife's always in the shop, so he didn't come across any problems in the last 12 months. If we have, we would have recorded that, and we would have known by now. It should be on the record book, so we didn't. No.
You said you got another question or two?
Two more, Chair. Yeah. Just 2 more. Thank you for the answer. That's what I was expecting, because it's not the problematic area in terms of alcohol and tobacco products. And then my second question is, apart from the mandatory conditions, does this gentleman has any other restrictions on his premises license, which in order to sell alcohol, does he have any other restrictions like no strong beers or no single cans, anything like that, apart from the mandatory conditions?
Question?
Thank you, Chair. Yes, my last question is, we have a signature, almost 300 or little more than 300 he provided with his representation. I just want to know, out of those numbers, apart from the individual objectives, out of the 300, is anybody present today? And if they do, how many of them?
Signatures. like you said, there's no dates, and some of them didn't have the questions. The actual petition hasn't written at the top. If you have that question, and if you think that he forged it or anything like that, if you give us another month, we could do the same thing again for you. And maybe this time we could come up with 500 signatures. If you want us to do that, we could do that for you. Thank you. That should answer your question, mate.
That concludes
Sorry,
your
sir,
questions?
that wasn't my question.
Yeah.
That wasn't my question. My question was, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My
No
question
one,
was,
sorry.
I think you've made your point there, Mr. Rajesh. You've asked a question, you've got an answer. Have you got any further questions?
No, I didn't get the answer for my question, Chair. What I was asking, out of the signatures, anybody present today, that's all I'm asking. I'm not asking anything about the nature of the signature, or I'm not saying anything about the signatures. Okay. I'm just asking, out of those numbers, is anybody present? Just yes or no.
There is.
Yeah. At this point, we would normally ask responsible authorities to make final representations to the subcommittee, but I just want to confirm for the record with the officers, no responsible authorities have asked to speak or put in any representations at all.
That is correct, Chair.
Thank you very much. In that case, the interested parties, which would be you guys as the objectors, do have a final opportunity to make representations. Typically, it's anything you haven't already mentioned or to sum up to the committee. And then at the very end of that, the applicant or their agent will have an opportunity to make a closing speech, and then we will retire for deliberations. So does any of the interested parties want to make a final representation to the subcommittee? Sure. Press your button.
What if I don't know how many people is going to have serving in the shop, I don't know. But just say there's one person, right, and a gang of youths come in, worse for wear, and start throwing stuff around. Okay, you can call the police, but sometimes the police can't always come out because they haven't got the resources. And what's going to happen then? You know, it's just trouble. That's what I wanted to say, sir. Thank you.
Any representations to us before we hear the final closing speech from the applicant?
I've no way, but it's the night time when it's going to bring trouble. And we have enough trouble. Dark Lane is rife with crime, car crime, and, you know, we just do not want it. It's just going to be I mean, I've seen them dealing drugs under the lamppost right outside my house. You know, but
saying on that, Judy.
You know, this is it. But the lady next door, that way, it's not affecting her in the sense of it's 10, well, what, 10, I say 5, probably 10 yards from my bedroom window, all the bungalow bedroom windows, all the building. We have it all day long. We've never been told anything's going to be built. And we have it all day long, the noise. But he hasn't never been to us and spoken. No. So she's a very lucky person he's been next door to that way, I must say. But as I said, none whatsoever. It's just the night time. And I live on the front. The much crime as it is without bringing any more to our area.
Any final submissions to us? No, we will. Right. In that case, the applicant or their agent has an opportunity to make a closing speech. Is that going to be you, Mr. Rajesh?
Yes, Chair. I will wrap it up. It's with due respect to the older representation. I think there's a little confusion here. The application, it's not a planning, it's a licensing application, but to open the shop for 24 hours, we don't require a license. The premises already has a planning permission to open and trade 24 hours. That's not what we are here today. So even we can open today and operate 24/7, but we can't sell alcohol, of course. But the premises can operate. Nothing at the moment can stop that. I just want to wrap it up very quickly. Please don't treat us like a pub or the nightclub. Here, people are not going to come out drunk. This is not our patrons. This is just a smaller corner shop. It's going to be part of the petrol station, and in the smaller area, it's going to be very small scale section for alcohol, which is a lot less compared to some other premises. The other thing is, I really feel sorry for the lady who had their car smashed and some other issues. But all of these happens when the premises wasn't operating there. I can understand that, and it's happened under the dark. So this is the main concern the resident raised us, because there's no liveliness. It's like a dead zone after certain hours. So when the place is lit up and there's CCTV running, the people are there, this is the scenario will deter the troublemakers and deter the problems like what we are facing these days. So that's the scenario. So that's what we are saying then. And also, nobody is going to do anything illegal right under the CCTV when they have lots of other places, like what they have at the moment under the cover of dark. They can do whatever the things they shouldn't be doing, but they're not going to be doing under our forecourt, because there is a high definition CCTV. Even it can record the sounds as well. It's there, and it can be an evidence for any illegal activities. We employ local residents with a local knowledge, as I previously mentioned, so that's our power and that's our strength. They have the knowledge of the area. And also, there is no representation, again, from the responsible authorities who has the right tools and the impartial position to make a clear a judgment about the application. We have none whatsoever. That's the main point here. We have addressed the concern raised by the local residents in terms of ASB and other concerns. And also we have number of conditions, number of measures put in place. As the gentleman from the Coast Guard mentioned, there was no restrictions in their license. But before we make an application, we are voluntarily putting number of restrictions, stopping all the unwanted people and troublemakers away from our premises. These are voluntarily put forward by my client. Plus, you can see the willingness for the safety of the neighborhood, the concern of the neighborhood from the statement he made about 100,000 investment for a smaller business. It's a long-term investment. Whoever take over the business is going to benefit from that. The resident is going to benefit for that. This shows a good tradesmanship. This shows the community concern from my client's side. We also have there's a supporting statement from the residents. Supporting statements are very, very rare. They took the time to make that statement. The petition, I don't think it's a valid petition. It doesn't made in a right format, and there are lots of issues which I have listed, about 6 or 7 issues. It makes this petition. It's a frivolous objection from our point of view. There are no evidence against this proposal. We have numerous measures, so therefore, Chair, this application should be granted. Thank you.
Thank you. In that case, that concludes this part of the meeting. The subcommittee will, rather than move everybody out of, so the proceedings for this part of it are concluded. The subcommittee will retire. Rather than move all of you good people out, we are going to vacate, and we'll be back once we finish deliberations, and then we will conclude this subcommittee hearing. Thank you. All right. Thank you, everybody. Can I just check the applicant's agent's still on? Oh, we have the applicant here and the representatives. Yep, and the objectors too. Thank you all for remaining. We have deliberated over this and taken advice from the officers. We've had due regard for the council's policies. Also, we have to recognise the Secretary of State's guidance in respect to these matters. And we have obviously weighed and taken very seriously and studied the written and oral evidence that's been provided by the applicant and the objectors, including the petition. The applicant is not proposing a all-night cafe or pub. It will be a well-lit area and covered by CCTV by the nature of it being a petrol station, and it already has planning permission to operate 24/7 as a service station and shop. So we do take residents' concerns very seriously about things like car noise and whatever, but that's a fact of life on the site already. And the fact that somebody going in there buying petrol and something else can then also now buy, if it's granted, a bottle of wine, wouldn't seem to materially impact on the noise side of things. But as I say, we are very mindful of residents' concerns. So weighing all of the evidence and recognising that the applicant is experienced and has the scale to exercise suitable oversight of licensing and related operational matters, and that the police have raised no objection and nor has any other responsible authority, we are minded to grant the application, and will be doing so subject to conditions to address the concerns that have been raised here. So the conditions will include, and these will all be drawn up by the officers and notified in due course, the signage that was referred to by the applicant and the agent in responding to questions. So we're talking about signage there that will cover two things: the respectful behaviour within, it being a residential area. So words to the effect of, please remember you are in a residential neighbourhood, please be quiet, whatever. Large signage for that. Also to remove face coverings. We would expect that petrol stations anyway, but just to make sure that that is going to be conditioned. We're also going to take up the promises that were made by the applicant and the agent that were repeated in respect of restricting the sale of super strength cider and beer, and also the sale of single units of beer and cider, miniatures of spirits and wine. We're also, much was made of the CCTV and its standard and the fact that it will cover it and might even help to reduce crime. Well, we need to make sure of that. So the CCTV will have to be operated to the appropriate British standard, and that will also be a condition that will be being set out by officers. I need to stress to residents and to the applicant that licences, there is a right to review, and we will review licences if it is not working out. There's no two ways about that. So ultimately, there is that backstop, that reassurance for residents. So, in the absence of any other comments, that I'll just refer to the officers to make sure there's nothing else.
Can I just seek some clarity on the single units to be sold condition? I just want to be clear when I'm writing that condition up, or what's the intention is of it.
Relates to sales of cans of beer or bottles of beer and cider. So the applicant was very clear many times, as was their agent. They do not sell single units of beer and cider, and so we need to take them up on that. And also they confirmed that they don't want to sell the little miniatures of spirits and wine. Any other points of clarification? Applicant, agent, are you content that you understand the decision and the reasoning that we have given? Yeah? Okay.
Thank you, Chair.
In that case, that concludes this licensing subcommittee. Thank you all for your attendance, and have a safe journey home.